Gopi Jana Balabha Girivanadhari Yashoyanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoyanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Astottara Srimad ISKCON Founder Acharya's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Hridas Thakur Ki Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Syamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Brajabhumi Brindavandam Ki Shri Mayapur Ki Ganga Maya Ki Yamuna Maya Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskricha Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nasta Prayeshu Abadeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. I just wanted to mention the appearance day of Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, one of the most prominent acharyas in the disciplic succession, who appeared, it's described, to enrich the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's not mentioned very much. He requested Krishnadas Kaviraj, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, please don't mention my name in your works. So he's only mentioned very, very nominally in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he's the son of Venkata Bhatta. When Gauranga Mahaprabhu was traveling through South India, he went to Sri Rangam, the Sri Sampradaya temple, And he stayed for 4 months with Venkata, a very elevated Brahmin devotee. And at the time, his son Gopal Bhatta was very young, and Gauranga Mahaprabhu gave him a lot of mercy in the form of his remnants of his prasadam, and he promised him that when you become an adult, I will make you a great acharya. But you should stay with your parents until they leave their bodies, and then you shall go to Vrindavan. So this was the instruction he left Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Gauranga Mahaprabhu had a very interesting relationship with Venkata Bhatta. They were in the mood of Sakyaras, and Gauranga Mahaprabhu would tease him that, you know, you Sri Sampradayas, you worship Lakshmi and Narayan. And Lakshmi, she's always attempting to go to Vrindavan, but because of her mood of opulence, she's never allowed to go there. And he would joke with Venkata Bhatta in this way. Gauranga Mahaprabhu, of course, introduced not just Swakiya Ras, the more formal relationship between Krishna and the queens, but Gauranga Mahaprabhu gave us the Parakiya relationship, lawless love that the gopis had for him in Vrindavan, and they could care less that that Krishna was God, as we know. And when the gopis were searching after Krishna in the forest after he left the Rasa Leela dance, we know that Krishna took the form of Narayan, and when the gopis encountered him in the forest, they, oh, obeisances to you, Lord Narayan. Did you see the son of Mahārāja Nanda go this way? They kept searching. Of course, when Radharani came, Krishna was so attracted to her that he kept slipping into his two-armed form because of her deep and loving Mahabhav, loving devotion to Krishna. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami was welcomed by the Sanatan Rupa Goswamis as their younger brother. They treated him very, very nicely, very affectionately. And Sanatan Goswami was so fond of Gopal Bhatta that he wrote the Hari Bhakti Vilas under the name of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who had basically helped him edit. And Jiva Goswami's Bhakti Sandarpa was also assisted by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He's a very, very wonderful, great acharya. In some places it's mentioned, like the Gaura Ganodesh Dipika by Kavi Karnapurana, the son of Shivananda Sena, that Gopal Bhatta is a very prominent manjari of Radharani in Goloka Vrindavan, named Guna Manjari. In other places, it's mentioned that he is an incarnation of Radharani's younger sister, Ananga Manjari. So these personalities, these manjaris, they came to enrich these transcendental pastimes of the Lord himself. Out of his mercy, he's descended here, even in this horrible, dense, dark, Kalir Dosha Nide, this ocean of horrible darkness and disgusting situations of Kali Yuga. Lord has come here, and he's accompanied by these assistants to Radharani. He's coming in the mood of Radharani, of course. He's assumed the mood of her because he wants to taste this intense love that Radha has for him. So Gauranga Mahaprabhu actually sent some of his used clothing and the bench that he used, he sent it to Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And Gopal Bhatta, of course, there's a story about Shalagram Shila. But Gopal Bhatta would eventually use his seat called a hoki, a kind of wooden seat, to worship his deities. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also came in a dream and instructed Gopal Bhatta that you should go up to the Gandaki River in Nepal, and you can worship me in the form of Shalagram. So Gopal Bhatta walked to the Gandaki River from Vrindavan, and as he was taking bath with his Kamandalu, 12 Shalagram Shilas jumped into the pot as he was trying to bathe himself. And then he took them out and he tried to put them back, but again he would take water and they would jump again into his Kamandalu. So in this way it happened 3 times, and then he got the message, the hint that perhaps he should worship these deities, these Shalagrams. So he brought them back to Vrindavan, and this very wealthy man, called a Seth, he was so impressed with Gopal Bhatta that he purchased very, very valuable gems and jewelry, and also very expensive cloth. And he said, you shouldn't use these. And Gopal Bhatta, he declined. He said, no, I'm a poor sadhu. I live under a different tree every night. What will I do with this opulence? And after some persistence from the wealthy man, Gopal Bhatta accepted the clothing. Of course, this was all a plan of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna. So he was celebrating the Shringa Chaturdasi one year, and the next day he was dreaming and he was praying that I really wish I could worship the Lord in his 2-arm form with face and legs and so on. So he was hankering like this, that I could use these beautiful garments and these beautiful jewelry and I could have a deity. Not, Shalagram is basically you're offering Tulsi and Ganga Jal and so on, Yamuna Jal and Chandan. So he woke up that morning and took bath at the Yamuna, and when he came back, when he looked in his bag of shalagrams, which you'd hang around his neck, one of the shalagrams had manifested as Raman, the Raman deity, with the 3-fold bending form, holding not a virtual flute, but holding. And so this was the mercy again of Lord Chaitanya on him. And so this Radharaman deity is being worshipped for close to 500 years in Vrindavan, in very high standard of deity worship. When Yamuna was being trained by Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan for deity worship, and they were going to, of course, Yamuna chose the Radharani deity, Radhashama Sundar. Yamuna had that Radharani designed. Prabhupada sent Yamuna to get training under the Goswamis at the Radharaman temple. So he had great respect and reverence for the standard of worship. These Goswamis are actually descendants of a disciple of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. His name was Gopinath Pujari. And his brother was initiated by him, and he had some children, and so they're descendants of this line. So this Radharaman deity is being very nicely worshipped, thanks to Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And the cloth that Gauranga Mahaprabhu had given Gopal Bhatta is still there, being preserved at the Radharaman temple. And you can ask the pujaris there to take darshan of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's preserved clothing. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami ki, Text 19. Bhagavān api viśvātmā loka-veda-pathānugaḥ kāmān siṣeve dvārvatyām asaktaḥ sāṅkhyam āsthitaḥ. Bhagavān api viśvātmā loka-veda-pathānugaḥ kāmān siṣeve dvārvatyām asaktaḥ sāṅkhyam āsthitaḥ. Bhagavān api viśvātmā loka-veda-pathānugaḥ kāmān siṣeve dvārvatyām asaktaḥ sāṅkhyam āsthitaḥ. Bhagavān api viśvātmā loka-veda-pathānugaḥ kāmān siṣeve dvārvatyām asaktaḥ sāṅkhyam āsthitaḥ. Bhagavān api viśvātmā loka-veda-pathānugaḥ kāmān siṣeve dvārvatyām asaktaḥ sāṅkhyam āsthitaḥ. Anyone else? Bhagavān api viśvātmā loka-veda-pathānugaḥ kāmān siṣeve dvārvatyām asaktaḥ sāṅkhyam āsthitaḥ. Bhagavān api viśvātmā loka-veda-pathānugaḥ kāmān siṣeve dvārvatyām asaktaḥ sāṅkhyam āsthitaḥ. Bhagavān api viśvātmā loka-veda-pathānugaḥ kāmān siṣeve dvārvatyām asaktaḥ sāṅkhyam āsthitaḥ. Very good. Haribol. Excellent. Pandits from the age of 3, 4. Bhagavan, Personality of Godhead. Api, also. Viśva-ātmā, Supersoul of the universe. Loka, customary. Veda, Vedic principles. Patha-anugaḥ, follower of the path. Kāmān, the necessities of life. Siṣeve, enjoyed. Dvārvatyām, in the city of Dvārakā. Asaktaḥ, without being attached. Sāṅkhyam, knowledge in Sāṅkhya philosophy. Āsthitaḥ, being situated. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Simultaneously, the Personality of Godhead enjoyed life in the city of Dvārakā, strictly in conformity with the Vedic customs of society. He was situated in detachment and knowledge as enunciated by the Sāṅkhya system of philosophy. Please repeat. Simultaneously, the Personality of Godhead enjoyed life in the city of Dvārakā, strictly in conformity with the Vedic customs of society. He was situated in detachment and knowledge as enunciated by the Sāṅkhya system of philosophy. While Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira was the emperor of the earth, Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa was the King of Dvārakā and was known as Dvārakādhīśa. Like other superintendent kings, he was under the regime of Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira. Although Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa is the supreme emperor of the entire creation, while he was on earth, he never violated the principles of Vedic injunctions because they are the guide for human life. Regulated human life according to the Vedic principles, which are based on the system of knowledge called Sāṅkhya philosophy, is the real way of enjoyment of the necessities of life. Without such knowledge, detachment and custom, the so-called human civilization is no more than an animal society of eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. The Lord was acting freely as he willed. Yet by his practical example, he taught not to lead a life which goes against the principles of detachment and knowledge. Attainment of knowledge and detachment, as very elaborately discussed in the Sāṅkhya philosophy, is the real perfection of life. Knowledge means to know that the mission of the human form of life is to end all the miseries of material existence, and that in spite of having to fulfill the bodily necessities in a regulated way, one must be detached from such animal life. Fulfilling the demands of the body is animal life, and fulfilling the mission of spirit soul is the human mission. Omagyana timirandasya gina gina shalakaya chakshur unmilitam gena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So here, Srila Prabhupada is giving us the Vedic manifesto. It's like you have the Communist Manifesto. This is the Vedic Manifesto, which is designed to create a revolution in the lives of the world's misdirected civilization. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo. Famous verse, first canto. So, during the reign of Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira, Krishna had put him as the emperor of the entire world, all the different islands, Africa, South America, America, North America, Europe, Eurasia. He was the Lord of the entire world. Mahabharat, Prabhupada used to say, Mahabharat. This is the history of the world. And Kama Vivarsha Parjanya, Kama Vivarsha Parjanya, Sarva Kama Duga Mahi, Sisichu Shmat Vrajan Gavan. That during the reign of Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira, mentioned in the 10th chapter of the first canto, that because he was performing yajna and sacrifice to Lord Krishna and ensuring that the principles of the Vedas were being complied with by human society, that Kamavavarta that the rains were very regular. And Mother Earth was producing all the necessities of life: pearls, diamonds, rubies, emeralds, fertilizers, medicines. The forest was giving medicines. Everything was cooperating with Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira, because he was fully surrendered, as we know, to Lord Krishna. He is a Raj Rishi, great king, and a follower of Lord Krishna's instructions. So the cows were very, very happy. Susuchishmat Vrajangavan, that the pasturing grounds were moistened by the fatty milk bags of the cows. The irrigation was natural from the cows. And so the crops were very, very abundant. Everything was in abundance. People want prosperity and peace, but they want it without, as Prabhupada said, without Ram. Raj without Ram is impossible. So here the manifesto is being given that the saintly kings of old, who emphasize and prioritize Yagyavai Vishnu, Yagnartat Karmananiyacha Lokoyam. We know the verse, 3rd chapter, that by the performance of sacrifice, Ishtan Boganivo Deva, Dasyante Yagyabhavitaha Tardatan Apadaya Beo Yubangtastena. If you don't practice sacrifice to the Lord as given by the Acharyas, and in the age of Kali, it's a very simple practice. What is it? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Very simple process the Lord has given us. Nam Namakari Bahudani Jasharva Shaktish. He's entered His holy names with all His potencies. You see so much greatness in the universe. Krishna says, "This is a spark of my splendor." So He's put all His energies in there, and we are simply guided here by the Acharyas, Gauranga Mahaprabhu's movement, to chant these holy names constantly and distribute the holy names to other. Yare deke tare kaha Krishna upadesh. We want to become Krishna conscious, and our duty is to give Krishna consciousness to every living being, every being on this planet, because there's so much suffering, as we know, in the world today. Constant violence, constant conflict on all levels, family level, social level, national level, international level. So much conflict is there. So even Krishna himself, when he appears, he accepts a guru, Sandipani Muni, or Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He accepted Ishwar Puri as his spiritual master in Gaya. So, although we know that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he adheres very strictly to these principles of Sāṅkhya philosophy, wherein, as Krishna says, Mamai Vamso Jivaloke, we're his eternal parts and parcels. And then he says, Uttama Purusha Tvanye Paramatmi Udaritaha Atusmo loka-veda-pathānugaḥ Pratishta Purushottamaha. That's in the 17th chapter, I believe. 15th chapter. 17? 15. That doimo purusho loke shanamakshomevacha. That there's a fallible and infallible living entities. Above that is a Supreme Lord. So the atheistic Sāṅkhya philosophers, they only accept the 24 elements, the 10 working senses, the 8 elements, the objects of the senses, the material energy, and so on. They don't accept the Atma or the Paramatma, which here Krishna very clearly elaborates in the Bhagavad Gita that in the Vedic literatures, he is glorified as that Supreme Personality of Godhead, transcendental to all the material energy, to the material modes of nature. Tribir Gunamaya Bhavir Ebisa Ramida Jagat. Mohitam Nabijanati Mamebya Param Avyayam. That he has the superior position above everything. So he's appearing and behaving like a human being, and so many foolish people, even today, they think that God, Krishna was just an ordinary human. He's maybe a great personality, but for them to understand that he's the supreme personality of Godhead, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagala vyaktamurti, that he is spread everywhere in this universe, that can only be revealed through the bona fide spiritual master and Krishna from within the heart, the Chaita Guru. The God is so kind and merciful that he associates with us, he accompanies us through all these various species of life. Purusha prakriti stohi bhunkte prakriti sadgunan karanam guna sangosya sadasa joni janmashu. That we take evolution means the soul is evolving through millions and millions. How many? 8,400,000 species. Narottam Das Thakur, he says, I used to eat rocks because birds, they eat stones. I ate mucus. What horrible things were we subjected to in this material world? Icha dvesha samutina dvandva mohena bharata. We're born in illusion. Sarva bhuteshi samoham. We're born in illusion, and we go through these various species, and now we come to the human form of life. And Srila Prabhupada's purport is describing that if you want to simply enjoy, drink, be merry, and enjoy this material world, you're no less than a dvipada pushu, two-legged animal. In the second canto, the beautiful verses, Swavidvara hostakarai, samstuta purusha pashu, nayat karna patopeto, jatu nama gadagraja. Those men who are like dogs, hogs, asses, and camels. So this is very insulting to the big scientists and politicians, philosophers. They write so many literatures, they have so much intelligence that they can, create airplanes and rockets. They're very, very proud. So when they hear this assault on their paradigm, on their worldviews, they become very angry. Like one famous atheist, Richard Dawkins, said, if you don't accept evolution, then you're very foolish, or maybe you're even evil, but I won't say that. So they promote these false philosophies. Yesham tu kapatatishanam patatam ariyahi. How does that go? Yeshudadana vachaste vai majanti ashma plava eva. Those persons who put faith in these people with PhDs and Nobel Awards, kupata, who lead them on the wrong path in life with their, their acolytes. Yeah, he is, the discoverer of the theory of relativity. Oh, he discovered quantum mechanics. He's the greatest brain. Maya aparita jnana, stolen by illusion. They put their faith in these so-called leaders today. Ye shradadana vachaste vai. They put their all their faith. This atheism is an act of faith. They can't prove it, but they have taken this leap of faith to accept atheism. Shradadana vachaste vai. They accept these foolish philosophers and politicians and inventors and scientists as the authorities on life. And unfortunately, it's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam is like accepting a captain who is the captain of a boat made of stone. Ashma plava, the boat made of stone. So he's leading the passengers into a boat made of stone. What happens to a stone boat? It goes to the bottom of the ocean. So this is the problem in today's society. Andam tamasa pravishanti in the Upanishad, it's described that those who follow the path of nescience, they enter into the darkest regions of ignorance. Worse still for those who teach nescience, who are teaching this, worse still for them. They're will receive even more worst punishment and karma for this misguiding of people. They have, as a leader, one has responsibility to one's dependents, and one should prioritize self-realization. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktira dokshaje. That the whole goal of human life is to engage in unalloyed devotion to God. And Prabhupada said this atheism has become prominent in the last 200 years. Scientific atheism has become prominent in the last couple of hundred years. Before that, people actually would go to the churches or the mosques or the temples and so on and acknowledge a superior power to themselves. But nowadays, the propagation of atheism and materialism and hedonism is very, very pronounced, highly pronounced. And so we see more and more suffering in our society, more chaos, more pain, more violence, more bloodshed. This is going on. So Kali Yuga has only been going on for 5,000 years. There's still 427,000 years left. But there's a bright window of opportunity in this age of Kali, and that is the Supreme Lord himself. He appeared, and it was predicted that this movement would spread throughout the world. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of course, one of the pioneers of Krishna consciousness, he predicted that some great personality would appear and take this great treasure of Bharatvarsha. This is actually the great treasure. Prabhupada, one time he told this journalist, I don't know if it was England, I think it was in London, he said, you went to India and you plundered India. You plundered all their gems and jewels, but you missed the real jewel, which is pure bhakti yoga. Mamchiyo vyabhicharana bhakti yoga ena sevate. Sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhoyaya kalpate. That's what we want. Pure devotional service without any tarnish of the modes of sattva, raja, tamagun. We want pure devotional service. And yabhilashita shunyam jnana karma navritam anakulyena krishnano shilanam bhaktiruta. Rupa Goswami is saying that he's driving us towards this pure service without any tinge of material desire, gross or subtle, simply trying to please the lotus feet of the Guru and the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tata guru tasyaite katita hyarta prakashante mahatmana. One must accept a bona fide spiritual master who is adhering to the instructions of the great acharyas. And another verse, it's described that one should take and bathe in the dust of the lotus feet of these great personalities who are ananya. They have no material desire whatsoever. Their only concern, as Prahlad Maharaj says, soches vimukachetasa indriyartam maya sukayam baram udvahato vimuda. Maya sukaya. They're trying to enjoy this illusion of sense gratification and material opulence. But Prahlad is feeling so much compassion, and he's lamenting A devotee of the Lord who is full of love of God, his first feeling is he's feeling the pain of others. Gauranga Mahaprabhu is in the mood of a devotee, and he was feeling so much pain for these living entities who are suffering so much in the material world. And he asks Haridas Thakur, how can we help these conditioned souls, these souls who are simply being thrown in this waves and whirlpools of the material energy, suffering in so many ways, jara and old age and death, janma mrityu, jara, all these things, and the farce of material enjoyment, the government's after them, the false yogis and gurus are after them, even their relatives are exploiting them. This is described by Jada Bharat to Mahārāja Rahugana in the 5th canto. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, my only anxiety is for these conditioned souls. Paradukkha dukhi, patita pavana. That is our business. Prabhupada would say that even they don't read my books, if they just touch my books, their lives may become perfect. They get purified. There's the book Bhagavat, there's the person Bhagavat. It's absolute. They're both very powerful. Very, very powerful. So when people have these books in their homes, they're actually living with Lord Narayan, with the absolute truth. And gradually, these will purify them. And the entire universe, the entire environment of the world can become purified by this movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, if you ever get money, print books. He told Srila Prabhupada of Radhakund. He said, if you ever get money, then print books and distribute them widely. This will be good for you and good for society at large. So this is the desire of the Lord manifesting throughout the world. More and more people are taking shelter of the real Dharma, the real path. Dharma projita kaitravotra paramoni matsaranam satam vedyam vastadam atru shivanam tapanchayan mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Pyar Ishvaraha Sadhya Ridi Avarujite Cha Kritibi Shushubi Takshana. Completely rejecting all cheating religions, all cheating philosophies, all cheating ideas. The Srimad Bhagavatam gives us the highest truth, which is the truth which is distinguishing reality from illusion for the benefit of all beings. That is the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is given by Srila Vedavyas, the incarnation of God, literary incarnation of God, Vedavyas. He's still living in the Himalayas, and he spoke this message. And his son, Sukadev Goswami, he carried this message to Parikshit Maharaj and so on, and it's passed down. This is perfect knowledge. This is not pure speculation or some convoluted idea. This is knowledge coming from the literary incarnation of God, Lord Krishna's incarnation, Vedavyasa himself, the author of all Vedic literatures. And now the sun of Srimad Bhagavatam is rising throughout the world, just as the sun dissipates all the darkness of ignorance. So the Srimad Bhagavatam, given by the Acharyas and by Srila Prabhupada, is dissipating the darkness of Kali Yuga throughout the entire world, where people can have some peace and satisfaction and understand the real purpose of human life is to serve Lord Krishna. Vasudeva, how's it go? Jnaniyati ashu vairagyam. So Prabhupada mentions here that the Lord is teaching by his own example devotional service and detachment from this material world. How to become detached and live within the world at the same time. Just like in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Brahmani hidaya karmani karyam karma karotiya lipyate nasa papena padma patram evambasaha. That the lotus flower could be in a very dirty place. It's growing in a horrible, nasty pond. But it's not touched by it. It's above it. So devotee of the Lord, ihayasya harir bhaktir, karmana manasagira, nikilashvapu avastasu jivan mukta suchite. Rupa Goswami says, we're doing so many things in this world. We're building beautiful temples, we're printing beautiful books, we're using Lakshmi, Krishna in the service of Lakshmi in the service of Krishna. We're doing so many things, but we're detached. We're detached. We are using it to please the Supreme Lord and Srila Prabhupada. So we're using everything. That is real detachment. So that is the idea. So thank you very much for listening. We may have some comments or questions. We have some senior devotees here. May want to comment, or someone may have questions. Yes, Mataji?
Thank you, Prabhu. Very beautiful. Thank you. Prabhu, I have a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned that as leaders of society, we need to prioritize self-realization. And you mentioned the example of Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira. He was performing the prescribed yagya for that yuga. And now in Kali Yuga, the prescribed yagya is Harinam Sankirtan. There is no other way, no other way, no other way. Considering that, and considering that in Kali Yuga, there is a huge lack of protection of mother cow. Considering that the ghee we are obtaining, included in Mayapur, is commercial ghee, which is like mixed oil with exploitation of cow. Considering that, do you think that it should be wise to increase the Harinam Sankirtan Yagya instead of increasing the fire Yagya, where it's like liters of this so-called ghee are spending? Do you think we are like becoming deviated? It's just for doing this Yagya instead of doing something that is gonna purify our hearts and follow Srila Prabhupada's instruction to perform Harinam Sankirtan Yagya? Or at least should we reduce the number of yagyas instead of increasing until we can have ghee from protected cows? Thank you, Prabhu.
So you're basically suggesting that we focus and emphasize the chanting as the yagya of the age. It says Kritaya Jayasho Vishnu, that in Satya Yuga there was meditation, and in Treta Yuga, Tretayam Yajato Makai, that in Treta there was these fire sacrifices in Treta Yuga. And then it says Kalar Yad Dari Kirtanam, that in Kali Yuga, the chanting of the holy name, it accomplishes the same benefits as these fire sacrifices. And of course, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he emphasized, and Prabhupada also mentioned, even more than temple worship, is the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So you're bringing up a controversial point, because we see there's some fire sacrifices going on. So we should actually prioritize the chanting of the holy name. Yes, Prabhu?
It doesn't take into account the full depth of Srila Prabhupada's vision. Sankirtan Yajna is meant to go throughout the entire world, specifically said, into every town and every village on this planet Earth, and turn people into a godly way of life. Now, Prabhupada has also said that as a part of the manifestation of this Hare Krishna movement is going to be a spiritual city. He used the word city. And he was referring specifically to what we are building here in Sridham, Mayapur. So this is going to be one of the results of all the worldwide Sankirtan is that people will come here to live a Vaishnava style of life, a devotional style of life. And as far as training devotees in fire yajnas, Prabhupada did have fire yajnas for certain events. We know he did that for initiations. We know he did that for marriages. And there are some other events like that that will gradually be needing fire yajnas. So I once asked Prabhupada, you're saying we're going to revive Vedic culture? Completely? Like from the last yuga even? He said, oh yes. Now, we could have a whole class or two on what that oh yes means. And what are all the things that Prabhupada foresaw. But I can tell you one thing he told me is that in the course of this 10,000 year golden age, many generations of Brahmins after Brahmins after Brahmins are going to take birth in this movement. The demigods, Prabhupada said, will be lining up to take birth in this movement. There will be a revival of what is now not possible at all in Kali Yuga. Brahmins who can chant purificatory mantras that do all kinds of things. I even asked Prabhupada, are you saying there's going to be yantras, flying machines based on mantras?
What did he say?
I mean, I didn't know how far to go with this in this conversation. And so Srila Prabhupada looked at me and said, why not? So we can't imagine what's going to happen in this movement 1,000 years from now or 500 years from now. We do know that this is going to be a spiritual sin.
Thank you, Ramaswara Prabhu. Mataji? I don't know if the mic is working.
Haribol?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu, for your class. Just picking up from where Murari Mohini Mataji asked that question, there is a GBC resolution that temples everywhere, all over the world, should move to ahimsa milk and milk products by Janmashtami 2022. So, this is a GBC resolution. So, in the world headquarters of ISKCON, why are we using commercial ghee? Is the question.
I think you have to take that up with the GBC.
The GBC has made this resolution, so what's happening?
It's a great goal. You know, Srila Prabhupada was very practical because I know in America, when Prabhupada came, they were buying store-bought milk and using it for the deities. Another example is Prabhupada instructed a devotee, I think his name was Nityananda. He started a farm in, was it Mississippi or somewhere? And he had a tractor. And Prabhupada was always against tractors because they killed the oxen. He said, okay, you can use it for now, but ultimately you want to evolve into the use of oxen. So Srila Prabhupada was very, very practical in his application and his instructions. So like Ramaswara Prabhu is saying, it's a purpose, the goal, the objective is, yes, ahimsa milk. Definitely. And so we should be working towards that for sure. And we should try to implement it as much practical as possible.
Close all the slaughterhouses throughout the world. Now, that's not going to happen in our lifetime. But it is destined, it is predicted. Srila Prabhupada stated that this movement will generate a Krishna-conscious world. All the slaughterhouses will be closed during this time.
Amazing.
And
Haribol.
So the future generations of the devotees of this Hare Krishna movement will be enjoying that type of world.
So Srila Prabhupada's vision was huge and very profound. We have to understand that he is in touch with Krishna at every moment. These great acharyas, they're constantly there with Krishna, and their vision is far broader than we can imagine. Far broader. So we simply have to keep pleasing Srila Prabhupada, keep trying to please him, and things will open up more and more, windows of opportunity, accomplishments that we have no idea. Supreme Court judges around the world will wear tilak, he said. We heard that one. If you try to close slaughterhouses right now in America, they'd probably shoot you. You know? I mean, this lady, Oprah, you know, you've heard of her, she spoke out against animals, cow slaughter in slaughterhouses in America, and they sued her. She had to go to court and you know, defend herself. So these things are very gradual, but we know, it's like if you go to Jerusalem or Mecca, it's an incredible place with millions and millions of people going there every year, and it's very beautiful. This is the future of Mayapur. This will be the new Mecca or the new Jerusalem. This is the religion that will take over because it's devoid of contamination. It's strung on the string of pure devotion, empowered by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's what this movement is. And we have to try to focus and remember that Gauranga Mahaprabhu is driving this movement. He's God himself. So why should we doubt when he says that all over the world this movement will spread? Why doubt God? He's God, but maybe he made a mistake? No. He sees the future, and he has his plan. And obviously, you know, an unknown disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta, he wasn't a prominent disciple, he wasn't a sannyasi, but he was empowered by adhering to the lotus feet of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He was empowered by his purity and by his, you know, no budging, not an inch from the instructions of his spiritual master. He was empowered. And he went on a boat, a cargo boat. He didn't have a cruise ship or a jet. He went on a cargo boat to America and got the movement, you know. This is Lord Chaitanya's plan. We don't know it. What will happen? But we have to maintain our faith and continue on in the struggle to be pure devotees. It's a struggle for us because we're doing Vedic Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti, that's a little more potent, a little more spontaneous when one develops some affection and attachment to Krishna's lotus feet. But we're Vedic Bhaktis, so there's struggle. We have to force ourselves to chant our rounds and force ourselves to control our minds and be detached, right? It takes effort. Thank you. Yeah, last one, 9 o'clock, time to go, yeah. Prabhu?
Yes, you had mentioned the exchange that Srila Prabhupada had with the reporter in England.
Was it England? Yeah.
Yes. I have the exchange here. I think
thank you.
Journalist, why have you come to our country? We have our own culture, our own God, our own beliefs. Why have you come here? Srila Prabhupada, your country, England, ruled over India for many generations. And in that span of time, you took so much of our wealth to London, but you forgot to take our greatest wealth, our spiritual culture. I have come to give you freely what you forgot to take from us.